So tonight I did a double feature of silent films. They were played on TCM's Silent Sunday Night this week, and I had never seen them, and they're very, 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 very iconic silent films that I have somehow missed in all of my years of loving silent cinema. So I was like, I'm watching them, and this would be George Melford's The Sheik, starring or Sheik. I don't know if it's Sheik or Sheik. I always thought it was Sheik, but then I heard Sheik, so now I don't know. Starring Rudolph Valentino and Agnes Ayres, and a very young Adolphe Menjou. He's 31 here, but he looks as old as he looks in all of his later films, and it really confused me. It's based on a novel by Edith Maud Hull, and in this one, the adaptation is by Monty M. Catterton. It's not a very good film. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful Paramount production. Very lush, very racist, very hard to sort of watch with modern eyes. Valentino's beautiful, yes. But the film takes place in North Africa, where a woman played by Agnes Ayres, Lady Diana Mayo, decides she's going to go off and just do things on her own, and safety be damned. And they set it up that like she shouldn't be alone because she's a white woman and there's Arabs and they're how those Arabs are. And lo and behold, she gets kidnapped by the Sheik played by Rudolph Valentino, and he insists he has fallen in love with her, so he's going to Stockholm syndrome her into loving him, even though she tries to escape several times. And he has a friend from Paris that visits. That's Adolphe Menjou, and then eventually he gets almost injured, and she realizes that she loves him. Oh. And after also escaping and almost being killed by an actual Arab, she then later, after she realizes she loves this guy, but like, oh no, he's an Arab and you can't do that. It's revealed, spoilers, that he's actually British and Spanish, and so now it's fine, and and he was adopted by the previous sheikh, and that's why he's now the head guy, but he's actually European, so they can get married and it's fine. It was awful. But it's a beautifully made film, full of really terrible Eurocentric ideas. So, and oh, just the Stockholm syndrome of like women falling in love with men who kidnap them is just really not something I'm ever very entertained by. And I knew all of this going into the movie. That's sort of why I've not seen these films for so long, but you gotta kind of check them off the list. So the next one, slightly better, but also terrible, was George Fitzmaurice's The Son of the Sheik, and at which point Valentino is playing his own son. He plays himself, the father and the son in this film. And he falls in love with Vilma Banky, who is an exotic dancer. But another man is in love with her, and so he convinces Ahmed, that's Rudolph Valentino's name, that Vilma Banky's character, Yasmin, was using him the whole time and lured him in so they could rob them. When in reality, that was not the case. And she really did love him, and that causes lots and lots of shenanigans, obviously, including him trying to ruin her life, and him, feeling all brokenhearted and getting upset, and her getting thrown into prison, and all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, the real reality is revealed, and she forgives him, and they fall in love and get married, because that's how these movies always end. What I will say is this is 1926, so it's 5 years later, and the production design is even better. The budget was much higher, and so they got to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And the screenplay was partially written by Frances Marion. Frances Marion is great, so she got to give the female character a little bit more to do in this one, which was nice. And slightly less Stockholm syndrome, although she still ends up falling in love with a guy who threw her under the bus, so I don't quite follow that. But I can definitely see in this one, because the Valentino and Banky really sizzle, I can see in this one why they were so beloved, or why he was so beloved. And he actually died right before this film was released, or right after it was released. He was 31 years old. Yeah, it was released right after he died, and it was supposed to be his big uh, relaunch of his career, and unfortunately, he died. So, but it basically cemented the iconic screen's greatest lover mythos that is around mythos that has enshrouded his career. So, I enjoyed it a little bit more because it was a little less racist and although it was also still kind of racist because Velma Banky is not Middle Eastern. She is from Hungary, and she's playing Yasmin. So that's not great. At least they didn't even try to make her look like dark by putting makeup on her or anything. It's a little better, but also it's still not great. So these are beautifully made silent films starring a very iconic actor of the era, but they have not aged well in terms of the stories they're telling, the eroticism, the how sexist they are, and the ideas they perpetuate. So the Eurocentric ideas. So sort of you have to watch them with a very much a grain of salt and look at them as a way of looking at what was once okay. It was clearly not okay, and it was not okay for women, and it was not okay for the Middle East, and those of Middle Eastern descent. But for the bulk of like white people, this was considered okay entertainment, and they didn't see anything wrong with it. And that makes you slightly grateful for where we're at now, except that we're still in a place of not great things happening. So baby steps. It's gonna take another 1,000 years, I guess, for movies to catch up, society to catch up. I don't know. Anyways, this was the Sheik or the Sheik, I don't know, and Son of the Sheik, Son of the Sheik, 1921, 1926. They're currently both on Watch TCM as well, with contextualized introductions by Ben Mankiewicz, so you can at least get that. And they are also available on DVD, so you can track them down that way. Mostly worth it to see Valentino in his element. Not worth it for the very, very not well-aged stories.